Welcome to another episode on the Journeyman Co. On this episode, myself and Jeff are going to be touching base, chatting all things coaching and what we've been up to over the last couple of weeks. Hello, buddy. Good to see you again. How's it going?
Very well. I'm excited about this one. We get to talk, just you and me, about where we are in our journey, pre-season, planning the next season for the Belgium Rugby Sevens men. So it's very exciting for us to sit down and talk. I love talking to you. I love picking your brain, hearing what you're doing, and seeing how you're evolving into a great coach. So I'm excited. I can't wait. Let's get into it. Let's go.
Good, bro. How are you?
Good. Very well. Very well, man. Nice to see your face.
You too, boy. Were you
Alan
fishing?
Wick.
Anik.
And
Got to represent, boy.
nice, nice, nice. I like it, bro. They got some nice stuff. It looks very Americanized.
Bro, it's cool kit, bro. Cool colors. Navy and gold. Navy and yellow. Can't go wrong.
Navy and gold. Who are like that? Michigan.
Yeah, it's like Michigan colors. Exactly.
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
but yeah, so how's it going? Were you fishing?
No, I'm joking. I was just cycling, man. Just on my bike. Had to get some stuff for the house. But no, I thought we could do a little conversation, you and me,
Beautiful.
around where we are currently, what we're doing coaching wise, what's happening, and talk from our side what's happening in the news of Chestnut Checkers. I think it's quite nice to hear. You've obviously got your team preparing them for
What's
the season ahead. Yeah, and what you've been doing in that, maybe 15 minutes or so. And me talking about, I've just planned my season planner for 2024 and got the go ahead from the union to potentially do some tours. I'll be having camps, yeah, twice a month in Belgium. So it's go, 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 green lights.
No, that's lekker, boy. When does your season or your preseason season kick off again?
I'll be starting in September. So the first week of September, I'm having my first alignment camp
Yeah. Where's that going to be in Brussels?
in Waterloo, just
London.
in London, Waterloo, no, in Belgium.
Yeah. Are you excited? And then when is your first competition? Who's your first comp against or tournament?
We probably gonna look to do a tournament in the new year. So nothing now. I want to try go to South Africa on a
Mm,
tour. I've spoken to academy down in South Africa in the Stellenbosch area, an old coach of mine, Ant Wilmot,
mm,
and he's actually he's worked with me. He was the first coach that actually took an interest in me and got me to play sevens. And we played in Melrose 2010 and won the damn competition. It was fantastic. It was my first taste of sevens. And so we got in touch, and I'm trying to put together a plan to go down there for a couple weeks and do some training, maybe play against villagers, get a hold of a Philip Snyman, go train with the Blitzbokke potentially.
yeah, that.
Uh, yeah, just be down there, and you know how it is. There's lots of club rugby down there. You can play, have a couple round robin tournaments, but I just want time on the grass with the guys. I
Yeah.
want to be coaching them. I want them to be working in the trenches on seven skills. So, I mean, we've spoken about getting you involved, coming down and working at ruck time, tackle techniques,
I know.
jacking over the ball. Nothing to do with the actual game of sevens.
Well, I think if Seven's team,
If there ever was a front row that could play sevens, it would be you.
oh, I don't know, maybe in my leaner days, my bath days.
Yeah, but I'm saying you could get there tomorrow. Like if they said to you, I want you to play Blitzbokke, you've got, I promise you, if they gave you 6 months, you'd be leaner than
Six
lean.
months. 6 months is fine.
You look like Frankie Horn.
Yeah, I reckon with 6 months I might be able to get through a training session.
No, you could, bro. I reckon
I'd,
sevens
bro,
exploded
I
now.
would love to have played sevens. I mean, especially when I was coming through with the Cheetahs, sevens was kind of taking off big time. Especially in South Africa around the late 2000s. I mean, South Africa always had a good sevens team, but
How many guys from the Free State were involved with that sevens team?
oh,
That's what.
at that time, Robert Everson was playing sevens, Paul Jordan, he was coming through the sevens. So South Africa, like that's when
Philip
we
Snyman, Philip
exactly,
Snyman,
yeah, Philip
South
Snyman.
Africa.
Cecil Africa played a bit at the Griffins, so he was from that area, Eastern Cape boy, I think,
It's
originally.
Neil Powell. Neil Powell was from the Free State. So you see how the influence comes there, you know.
Yeah,
The
so
Grey Boys are great sevens players. They just fit.
it's a great game though, boy, and it's great to see it also in the Olympics. So hopefully you can get Belgium into the Olympics one day because I think that would be really cool. I think if Belgium are on the Olympic stage, it's great for Belgium rugby. No, but it's good, boy. Going into season number 2 with
The
Belgium.
first season, I mean, come on, if we're going to put our cards on the table, I think the first season was very much going into it blindfolded, and you learn a lot about how the competitions run. You don't have a lot of time with the guys. You know, we had what do we have? 3 tournaments before going into tournaments, and I had no camps really with them to coach them. It
No,
was about what does the tournament week look like, and how do we want to work around that. So I've almost done it backwards to front, where it's like we know how to be in tournament time, but where's the development? Where's the growth of actually playing sevens, beating people in the channels, pass technique, ruck technique? So this time around, a lot more time on the grass, coaching, bringing in specialists. I mean, you know this, but I brought in Tobias Matson last time. We were in Geneva at a tournament with him, and he was with us, like coaching, helping, dealing with pressure, all the great stuff. You know, having him around there to help me coach was phenomenal. So the next goal is to get the mighty Mark VV involved with throw technique, tackle technique, jackal, ruck time. Great
yeah.
coach. I can't
No,
wait to.
it's good. You're talking about throw technique. It's great because when I went back to South Africa after the Wasps went into administration, I was asked to coach Asetu Mnebelele. He was a back row, played Lions under 16, Kes boy.
Yeah.
Never thrown in his life going into his grade 11 year. And I was asked to coach him with his throwing, and he took it to like a flipping fish to water, bro. Now he's the SS Schools captain, probably one of the best throwers in the country in his age group, if not a few age groups above. So it's really rewarding when you see boys that buy into what you're trying to do and it pays off for them. I definitely think he will go on to achieve big, big things in South African rugby. So yeah, get me over there, boys. There will be some Belgian boys throwing darts, boy. The odd pizza, but some darts. But no, it's good, bro. And the thing that I noticed most, you talk about not having much time with those Belgian boys, but you could visibly see the impact you were having on them culturally. You know, the team was buying into your ethos as a coach. You're all about energy, connection, that flow. Um, so I definitely think big things are going to come for those boys. And it's a process, and you learn that, the
Yeah.
longer you do it. I'm finding that now with the Anik boys. I'm coaching obviously an amateur rugby club up in the northeast of England. Great club, great boys, boys that really, just doing it for the love of the game, but they love their club. They come there on Tuesday and Thursday evenings and they work really hard. And, it's been good to see their kind of growth through preseason. I mean, bro, like not getting paid coming to training on a Tuesday evening after a long day of work and then getting someone telling you to do Bronco reps into tackle bags. You really got to love the game and your club. So it's been great to be a part of it. Um, we just had our first preseason hit out now, which was good to see like some of the training transfer
Yeah.
from what we're trying to work on. It was good to see some of that, at times on the training pitch, but still obviously a long way to go. So yeah, looking forward to it. We're heading up to Melrose this weekend.
Can
Um,
you believe that? Melrose, bro. After I've just
oh,
said that
what
about
a setup though. It's such a great little club. We did a
it's
training
fantastic.
session. We did a training session there against Edinburgh in the preseason, and I couldn't believe like the how good the facilities were for that kind of level. It was so good. It took me way back, bro, like to first team rugby or like when I grew up watching College Rovers. Like it
Yeah.
was really special, and you could sense like when you walked into there, into the grandstand and they had the bar under the grandstand, you could sense like the history. And there were like all different kinds of jerseys. I think there was even a Marty's jersey up on the wall. And I was like, wow,
It
this,
is. Yeah.
this is
Hamilton
cool,
too.
bro.
Hamilton's is there too.
This is like when I was growing up watching rugby, it was all about that, the feeling, how it made you feel, like watching the legendary Western Province teams and watching Marty's play or College Rovers or the Sharks or the Border Bulldogs. Like it takes you back. It's so nostalgic in a way, you know? So to see that at Melrose was kind of cool. So it's kind of cool to be going back there. We'll obviously see how it goes, you know. Obviously, we've still got a ways to go in terms of how we want to play the game and getting the fitness levels up. But man, I've got so much respect for these boys that work. A lot of them are farmers. They work flipping 10, 11, 12-hour days, and then they still come and give it their all on the training pitch. So it's been humbling in that experience, in that sense. Also,
Tell me
then,
though, tell me just jumping in there, how have you managed to balance coming from 13, 14 years of professional rugby to now working with amateurs and coaching amateurs? How have you balanced that as a coach? How have you found that? Because I know you, there's not a harder working guy in the game. No, you know how I feel about it. We talk about it a lot, but how do you then, what are your expectations as a coach, and how do you deliver your messages when you've got this sort of, because you've said this twice now, the fact that they're hardworking people off the pitch. How are you dealing with that?
yeah, well, I think it's an interesting question because you've got to kind of manage expectations a little bit for yourself and other players. Essentially, like we all there to we want to do well. I want to improve as a coach, and I'm sure they want to have fun and improve as players. So it's about trying to find that balance of finding those small improvements, but also making it fun and enjoyable for them. And then you can't disregard the human factor. You know, you've got to pull your pull your own reins back in a sense and understand like you know these sessions, the training sessions have to be engaging, the training sessions have to be fun. I know from the past they spoke about their preseason being very run orientated in terms of running up and down the field, fitness, you know. And for me as a player, we had a preseason, well, I had a preseason at Wasps where I don't think we did one shuttle. All the fitness was around game, like you'd go 6 or 7 minutes ball in play into like a minute of contact conditioning, back into 3 or 4 minutes ball in play. So it was very much geared towards game fitness. So I tried to incorporate that a little bit. Obviously, you need to get a little bit of running into them because they're obviously not full-time athletes.
Yeah.
Just to, you know, ensure that they prep for the demands of how you want to play the game. But our training sessions have been very much, you know, 15v15, 10v10, 12v12, depending on our numbers, getting them running, getting them playing the game, getting them playing the game, you know, under pressure, forcing their skill sets, like trying to build those skill sets under pressure. And, you know, making sure that they're staying stimulated, you know, testing them, giving them scenarios. So, for example, we had a training session last week on a Thursday. We went through 15v15 up and down the field, you know, set piece, blah, da, 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 et cetera, you know, giving them different areas on the field to attack from or turning the ball over to getting them into transition. And then at the end of that, we finished with a scenario. So the scenario was we had scored a try, 80 minutes. We were going to receive a kickoff. And we had to go and score points, which they did. They ended up scoring under the poles going 80 meters. So, you know, and it was during that scenario where you might say, okay, now play 3 or 4 phases, boom, you've got a penalty on the halfway line. What do? You know? And obviously I take the decision out of my hands. They've got to make the decisions because at the end of the day, they're on the field, you know, making those decisions. So it's been good. And also as a coach, I think you learn a lot when I was breaking down the game um, from Saturday. And it's quite interesting because when you, as a player, you just look at the game from your point of view. Okay, what could I have done in this situation? What could I have done better? How could I have helped my team in this situation? But when you look at it, when you pull it back, now you're suddenly seeing all the moving parts, and you'll watch it once, and you'll be like, "Oh, okay, we could do that, 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 and that." Um, and then you'll watch it again and you'll be like, oh, hang on, we could actually do that, 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 and that, and that. And then you want to send that clip out to the players. Then you say, okay, no, let me just watch it one more time. And you pick up 4 or 5 more things that you could do better. So it's been a good learning curve in that sense, and I can understand from watching the game this past weekend and breaking it down how coaches could fall into the trap of seeing players as like moving parts rather than human beings. Does that make sense?
Yes,
You
yes,
can
of
you
course.
can start seeing, okay, I need a guy that can do this job for me correctly.
Yeah,
So instead of focusing on the player you have and trying to make him improve and get better, they're like, okay, now I'll just get someone who can do that job for me to make my game work.
yeah.
So I can understand how coaches can fall into that trap of, instead of having that growth mindset and working with the player that you've got and trying to get him to do what you want him to do, it's instead, nah, sorry, you can't do this, so I'm just going to bring in someone else. So it was quite an interesting weekend from that sense.
So funny you say that, because that was the biggest thing for me coaching, was finding out naturally I can't turn my head away from those sort of players. If I'm invested and they've made this mistake 3 or 4 times, I still find myself naturally, with the heart I have and the character I have, trying to help or give clues to how to deal with pressure, how to get the best. When you see a player do it in training and he does it perfectly, and when the big lights hit them and it's quarterfinal and it's the last play against Georgia, and they just go completely off script and they're doing stuff that they've never done in training or never done in front of you, you know that it's down to how they're dealing with pressure, the psychological parts of fear, of making mistakes, of being, fight or flight or freeze. And that was the biggest the most interesting part of my coaching over the last 4 months, and the introduction into the sevens national sort of European championships, is just dealing with that. You see people do the funkiest stuff, and it reminds me of my own game sometimes. And that's why the simpler I make it and the more love I give, I just try to, like, these guys, I'm just trying to get them to trust me. Like, listen, I don't give a shit. Kick the ball in their half, and we'll mess it up again. But you got to afterwards, when we review it, we've got to be honest and say, was it on, wasn't it on? Let's make a better decision here. There's no fear. You don't have that fear anymore.
Mm.
So dealing with that was very interesting. It was almost like a enlightening moment. Dealing with having, what's the word, control, or being in charge of an organization like that, is also something I can see how coaches let it get to their head, how the ego can become like, you decide when you eat, when you train, how you train, when you're going to move, when you're going to play, who's playing. It's very easy to find yourself in this position where you're like, oh, got to do this, got to do that, no fear, everyone, and you project that. So if you're walking around in the same mindset as I just explained, fight or flight or freeze, and you're projecting that on the players, they're going to smell it off of you so quickly. And in sevens, you've got 6 meetings a day. You're looking at 3 warm-ups, and then you've got a meeting after the match, before the next match, after the day, the next morning. You've never had to be more creative with storytelling. I'm coming in there and I'm trying to give a big spiel about Viking playing this music, and it's like Rammstein. And they're like, you could see it's like, this ain't gonna work. And I'm like, okay, I got to readjust. I thought, hey, we in Germany, we in Hamburg, let's put some Rammstein shit on you. Let's get the guys going in the morning. And it went quite well. But then everyone was fucking wanting to kill the opposition, and there was no calm decisions. So little things like that. And I realized that in the warm up, when my captain just started screaming at all the players, "What are you doing?" And I was like, I've created like these skullhead monsters. But it's funny how you can set energy and set environments, and just listening to what you've done and how you're giving feedback to these guys. The way you do video with voiceover, it's something we were going to talk about now, but it's so professional. It's something Tobias Matson does with the best players in the world, and the fact that you're giving it to amateur players is testament to your hard work, and almost where you are as a coach at 30, young 30-year-old coach. It shows you where you are in the game. It's like if you look at American football, NFL, uh, half the roster and all the top coaches coming through are all like in their early 30s. It's like the new age, the card counting coaches of the new age, and how you deal with generation. I don't know what they're called, X or I don't know what they're called, but generation telephone. And we understand them because they've been in the changing room with us. They're not too far away, and it's a very different world. The playoff today is completely different to 20 years ago. You
Yeah.
understand?
I think also, just to chime in there, it does, just to go off the points we're making, pressure is really important. Like, how do you manage pressure? That's going to be a big test. So when you do lose a few players, or you do lose 2 or 3 or 4 games on the bounce, how do you get the boys to stay on the same page? And, as a coach, I think that's always been the biggest indicator for me how good a coach is it's really easy in preseason, isn't it? Like, there's no pressure. Results don't really matter. It's about creating a culture, getting the boys ready to play, and it's all happy days. But the moment the pressure comes on, then how do you react as a coach? How do you react as a leader to ensure that the boat stays true north? So that will be interesting to see how I handle that. And then again, just to on your point of talking over the videos, I don't want to take all the credit. I do think it's a brilliant way to do it, but I actually got the idea from Richard Blaze. He's a forwards coach. He coached me at Leicester and then at Wasps again. Great coach, great human being. One of my favorite forwards coaches. He's now at Bath, doing very well with them. And I don't understand why any other coaches didn't use that tool available. I know you said,
I was using it for me in Bath, eh?
yeah. So
We'd have
Tabs obviously used it with the backs. So Blazer we do our line out walkthroughs on a Monday.
Where's Blazer from, may I ask?
I think he's a Midlands boy. He played a bit at Worcester and Leicester, but they had to retire early because of injury. He's, coached, I think, England Women's. He's coached Leicester. He's coached Wasps. He's coached Bath. So, I wish him all the best. He's a great human being, more so than he is a great coach. The human being, unbelievable human. And he would then take our line-out walkthrough on a Monday, and he would do a voiceover telling the boys where to jump, in what spaces. And I just thought it was brilliant. I thought it was fantastic. Never had a coach since that's done that or before. So I've kind of taken that idea from him. And obviously, when you train Tuesday, Thursday nights, you don't have a lot of time for video sessions and things like that. So if I'm able to just break down a clip or two with talking through it, hopefully the boys, can learn from that, and we can go and execute that the next week. So we'll just see how it goes. But no, I'm looking forward to the season. I'm also going to be doing a little bit of coaching at Northumbria University with their younger teams. So I'm looking forward to that. I want to be coaching as much as I can now, because it's like, I think it's like a muscle. The more you coach, the more you get exposure to certain types of players, the more you find out, what works and what doesn't. And I think that's also what I found in preseason. I might plan a drill or like a little game that doesn't quite hit the mark how I thought it would, in terms of, challenging the players, helping the players grow. Then you can't be precious about those things. You got to be like, okay, doesn't quite work for us, boom, into the garbage. Maybe keep it for another day. But, it's constantly trying to find things that suit your style of coaching, but also what suits your players and how you want to play the game. So that's what I'm kind of learning as well, is that ability to not be precious about things you come up with in your head, not have that ego as you talk about, and just try and always constantly strive for those 1%ers, So that's been good.
I think it's fantastic to hear you, and it's very vulnerable for you to share these type of things with me. And I mean, we've spoken about doing a tutorial on how you do these videos. I think it'd be quite interesting, a 15-minute tutorial of how you actually go ahead and
all trade secrets here, boy.
Hey, it's not trade secrets. Come on. We from the new age of sharing is caring, and sharing with the coaches.
I'm just messing.
I know. But it's true. A lot of coaches would say that. A lot of coaches would try to keep that. But the harder you squeeze it, I think I've always believed this, the more cynical you become, and your ego takes over. But look, I'm wishing you all the best for the season. We'll keep updated, we'll keep everyone updated on how we're doing. I mean, just jumping again onto the Seven side of things, that having two camps a month is huge. I just sat down yesterday with the S&C and captain, and we went through the planner of the year. And it's so cool to sit down and have a look and see we've got 10 camps lined up. Now I can start planning each camp. For example, when I did my review with Tobias Matson, and he almost gave me the idea of having a theme for each camp, wide attack, breakdown, pass, throwing in obviously situational footy, which is so important. Like we said, we love playing situational footy. But I'm really excited for what's ahead for both of us, and we keep everyone posted.
We've got some coaches coming on. Obviously,
Yes,
a lot of them are busy now with preseason. So once they free up a bit, we'll get them on. We're also going to be chatting to your cousin Chris, who
Mr. Bakluti. Yes,
drove from
Adman.
drove from Bath in the UK all the way to the Eastern Cape. I'm pretty sure
Can you believe that?
I'm pretty sure there's easier ways to get back to South Africa, but what a trip, bro. Like that must be amazing. So I'm excited for him to share those experiences with us. I remember, Jeff, I was actually lying in bed one day and I was like, oh, you know what? I'd be keen to jump in with Chris because I think it would be a vibe, bro. Like driving through Africa, a little bit dangerous in certain parts, but I thought, no. I think I'm going to get in on this. I messaged Chris. I'm like, bro, how long is this going to take? Or like, how long are you planning on going for? Thinking in my head, no, it'll be a week and a half, 2 weeks. So that's okay. He tells me 3 months. I'm like, okay, good luck, boy. I'm going to Africa for 3 months. But
With
now,
these two dogs, eh? With these two
yeah,
dogs and his missus.
yeah.
So
So
he,
I'm excited to chat to him soon about, all the ups and downs and the incredible things he must have seen. So yeah, thanks for the catch up, Boyke. Enjoyed catching up. We'll keep um, getting in touch and just throwing
yeah,
ideas out with each other. But yeah, to everyone who's watching us and supporting us, keep an eye out for some big time coaches and yeah, some great stories from incredible people. Thank you.
I think that's the big thing is this channel is about sharing ideas and there's so many young coaches coming through and we want to hear from them too. If you've got questions, get hold of us. We've got our email on our website. We love to get more interactive with the people and hear what you guys think. But for me, from my side, it's very exciting to share these things. And it's almost like a video diary of going through from player to coach. Obviously, now I'm not playing as much. And actually, this season, I haven't assigned myself to any club. So it's going to be really going in, and Belgium Rugby Union are giving me the opportunity to coach full time. So it's going to be very, very exciting. I think for us, getting good coaches on and being vulnerable and hearing what they have to say and share with us and ask legitimate questions that I think a lot of us ask in our heads but don't have the network to get hold of these people. We don't want to name too many of the coaches that are coming on, but a lot of them are a couple World Cup winners potentially.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
I didn't get this memo.
Yeah, we're going to reach in there to the old black book. But I'm really excited. Can't wait to talk to my cousin Christopher Cleats, get the Cowboys back on. But listen, Mikey, thanks. Thank you so much for today. And it's short and sharp. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Thanks. Peace out.